So it is time to continue with the AMX platoon, and well, today it's time to drive the Mars 15. This is the light tank of the platoon, and honestly I really do like this vehicle. It is a very interesting one to say the least. Now it goes 25 km per hour, reverse 25 km per hour. It has a 90mm cannon. It is fairly fast, good specific power ratio, has 3 crew members, 5-second reload. Not really sure if this has an outloader. 5 seconds does seem to be too long for an outloader, but it only has 3 crew members and, well, basically non-existent armor. Although, ironically, this thing feels like it has more survivability than the AMX 32-105. The 105 was terrible. I don't know why I sucked so much with that vehicle. I had a lot more success with this and with the 30B2, but I don't know, maybe, I guess there are some vehicles that I just can't get along with, but the Mars 15 is indeed a very interesting little light tank, and well, let's see what this thing can do in combat. Now, the purpose, well, this vehicle, I mean, it can be used for sniping. It has a very good gun, accuracy is decent, and it does have APFS DS ammo, which is honestly pretty awesome. A 90mm APFS DS shell is really decent even at longer distances, and this thing can penetrate a lot. Oops, what am I doing here? I almost flipped this thing. It is very... I don't know how to describe it accurately. This vehicle is... that's a lovely teammate. It is very fun to use. Doesn't have a stabilizer, so yeah, the aim is going to be all over the place. So that's, I guess, one drawback to it. You can't really shoot while on the move, and the turret rotation speed isn't fast. So if you thought that you could use this vehicle as a light tank in World of Tanks, for example, where you can just run around and shoot stuff, well, not exactly. You can't do that with this vehicle. I mean, you can, but the turret rotation speed kind of doesn't really allow it. The other main battle tanks have a better turret rotation speed than this light tank. Although, honestly, not a big deal, because it is still more than enough for most cases. I also love how that leopard is still alive. It is still alive, even though it ate like 3-4 APFS DS shells. Now, this is a very small tank, doesn't have a lot of room inside, so you can't really carry a lot of ammunition with it. I usually carry most of my ammo for APFS DS and just a couple HE rounds in case I encounter one of these, you know, ATGM boxes like the CM25 and the PVRB 551. Mostly for them, but the APFS DS shell is your primary ammo, and you should have quite a decent amount of it. The reload is good, and you can run out of all the shells very quickly. So you have to kind of capture zones if you run out of ammo, so you can reload there. I did find myself reloading in the base quite often with this vehicle. Not necessarily a bad thing, but one thing to keep in mind, I guess, since this tank doesn't have a lot of ammo to begin with. Oh look, a M48, you know, the gun does penetrate, and the fact that it has a PFSDS at 90mm is awesome. However, this gun does, well, the ammo does kind of struggle to do damage in some cases, although honestly not a big problem. I haven't found myself struggling to kill most of the vehicle. I mean, it just kills if you know where to aim, or if you nail the ammo, it usually does blow up, but the spalling from a smaller caliber shell is definitely a bit different from the spalling of a larger caliber shell, and this 90mm gun isn't that long. I mean, it's decently long, I guess, but it is definitely the shell isn't as fast. It shouldn't be as fast as the shells on the other main battle tanks. So that also does kind of important when you want to destroy a target. Since I did notice that higher velocity shells tend to do a bit more spalling when they penetrate. It probably something to do with the kinetic energy and stuff like that. I mean, most likely, I guess. But with this gun, the shell velocity, it's still a PFSDS shell. It's still a PFSDS ammo, so it is fast, but it doesn't feel as fast as some of the other shells from the other main battle tanks. And obviously not nearly as fast as the APFSDS on the T62, which is moving at 1.7 kilometers per second, which is a pretty fast dart. After all, APFSDS is just a dart in a way, an arrow. If you, I mean, you can call it a dart or an arrow. Actually, it's very similar to in design, which is kind of funny when you think about it. But yeah, not something that I want to get hit by, because it penetrates a lot. Now this vehicle does penetrate a little bit less than the other AMX main battle tanks, but it's still more than enough, and it does get the job done without a problem. As for how I play this vehicle, well, I mean, you can play this vehicle aggressively, but you have to get used to the slower turret. I like to, I mean, it's also a low profile vehicle. It is very small. It is just a little bit taller than the STRV, which means you can take advantage of cover, you can take advantage of terrain easily. And it is a difficult tank to hit. After all, it is a light tank, and it is quite small, so this is a very small target. And honestly, the size of the vehicle does make it really good for sniping. After all, a smaller target is much more difficult to hit. I mean, compare the mouse, for example. It's just convenient that a mouse just spawned right next to me. Just look at how big the mouse is and look how small this little tank is next to it. Might not seem like a big difference, but when you look at the vehicles, yeah, it's quite different. And the mouse is also very tall. While this does have a small turret, and it's a low profile vehicle, has that, definitely does have that low profile to it, which is always a very big bonus when it comes to tactical advantage. After all, I mean, I already said it, low profile vehicles are more difficult to be hit. So you can shoot at the enemy, but you know, if the enemy can shoot at you, the chances that they'll hit you at longer distances is quite low. And your shell velocity is still enough so they can, you know, land a good hit at them. And of course, the accuracy as well is decent, so it doesn't suffer from those problems that other ammo types suffer, like HE, ATFS, or heat. What is this bomber doing? That's right, fly upside down. What can possibly go wrong? And yeah, crashed on the mountain. I did get one kill, I believe. That was nice. Better than nothing, I guess. And let's keep on blasting. Let's see if I can kill some more tanks. A T-54 failed to detonate. I have 4 shells left, so that means soon I might have to go and capture the base to reload, basically. This vehicle is vulnerable to artillery, so you don't want to be caught in the artillery fire. Always try to move away, although it is not as bad as the ATGM boxes like the CM25 or the PVRB, where you get killed by artillery if it lands like 50 meters left from you, because those vehicles have absolutely no armor. But still, you don't want to be around artillery with a light tank. It also has a machine gun, but that machine gun I rarely use it. It is maybe usable, but I personally haven't really used much. If I haven't, I think I haven't used it at all actually, because usually I rely on the main gun and I rely on maneuvering around. And one more hit. There we go. That was a good kill. That rocket spammer is a very interesting vehicle. I need to get that platoon at one point. Although I wasted all of my gold, well, almost all of my gold for premium tanks, so I guess I have to wait until I have enough gold to keep farming, I guess. And of course I have to repair the engine. After all, the speed is one of your main advantages, so you have to have your engine always up and running. And we won the match. That was a good one. And honestly, this vehicle is very fun to use. Let's go to the next round. Now this time I will be using this vehicle more as a sniper, and it can do that job really well. As I mentioned before, I put that to the test and I wanted to figure out if my theory has some practical application, and it did. I can say that the APFS DSM on this gun is decently accurate and does, you know, have good aim. If you have a spot, if you find a spot where you can hide the whole of the vehicle with the turret just being visible, this is a very, very difficult tank to hit, and I like that. Although on this map, oh my god, oh yeah, I have lowered the graphics, okay. I like this map a lot, but man, the grass is just annoying. If you play, you can play with maximum graphics, I guess, but you will be at a significant disadvantage against players who have the graphics on medium or lower, because the grass, if I had maximum graphics, I wouldn't be able to see anything. That's just how much of a difference it makes. And it kind of makes me sad because I like the maximum graphics, but I wouldn't be able to play properly because I wouldn't be able to see anything if I use that. And here I'm sniping with this little tank. It does seem to slap at this distance. It does get the job done, as I mentioned before. And that was kill number one. I could have killed that IS-8, but I didn't. And this spot is fantastic. Most of the hull of the vehicle is basically underwater, and the enemy can theoretically only see a small portion of the hull, well, just a little portion of the hull and the turret. And I can move out of their way very quickly when I want to. I have this little hill in front of me. IS-8, T-10A, IS-8. It's a IS-8 or a T-10A. It's the same thing basically. Right, let me go and grab the bomber since I'm almost running out of shells. You will run out of shells very quickly with this light tank. I think the main drawback with this vehicle is the lack of ammo. You shoot fast. It is a smaller caliber gun. Smaller caliber shells tend to do less damage when they penetrate, so you can, in some cases, you might have to use several different shots to kill the target, but that's good to know, so that you can, expect that and basically be able to resupply ammo at the base. Oh, that was a beautiful hit. Well, that was actually a triple kill with this thing. That was lovely. I got some good kills with the bombs and with this little light tank. Well, I've been trying to figure out which one of the vehicles of this platoon might be my favorite, and honestly, I'm starting to lean towards the Mars 15 being my favorite. Now, it doesn't have a stabilizer, obviously. Just look at the aim wobbling up and down. But it is not that bad. It can still aim properly, and if you take advantage of the terrain, then it is definitely not a problem at all. But this little vehicle likes to snipe, and this little vehicle likes to take advantage of the terrain, and this little vehicle has a very nice 90mm gun. Now I remember reading that some players were worried that you would get HETFS ammo. Well, thankfully you get APFS DS ammo on this thing. Not really sure how HETFS would work. After all, we all know that the lower caliber HETFS usually likes to troll and usually doesn't reach that far into the vehicle, into the enemy tank. Which is kind of weird, but it is just how it works in this game, I guess. In War Thunder in general. So I personally prefer APFS DS, and I think many other players prefer that ammo as well, because it simply does more damage when it hits and when it penetrates. HETFS is good. I like the ammo. In some cases I prefer to use it over AP, but in most cases that's not really required to do, so I can just use the AP ammo. It really depends. I mean, if the APFS DS doesn't have enough penetration to break someone's armor, then in some cases I like to use HETFS, which usually does have good penetration, and any damage is better than no damage. But with the vast majority of vehicles, it's honestly not required, since most of the APFS DS just penetrates without a problem. There are a few vehicles that might struggle with the APFS DS ammo, but this vehicle is not one of those. It works really well, and that was a victory. It was a very nice little run with the Mars 15. And well, that was it for the Mars 15. Honestly, a cute little vehicle. I love it. It's a very deadly light tank, and it's definitely very fun to use. So, with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed. If you would like to support me, feel free to like and subscribe. And with that being said, stay safe, and as always, I'll see you next time.